land there now. Just relax. The more you relax, the more this scene will come to you. Are your feet barefoot or are you wearing shoes?
Barefoot.
Good. What are you standing on?
Lying down.
Oh. What are you lying on?
She's bed chair thing. Reclining on a comfy. Yes. Bed chair.
What color is it?
It's this like brownish olive green.
And what does the fabric feel like to you?
It feels velvety and soft.
Good. Now looking down at your body, what do your clothes look like?
Minimal. Thin, soft, veil-like. Light colors, light, almost, I want to say diaphanous, but does that make sense? Sort of thin, almost see-through. White.
Good. What does your body look like?
Pale and lithe and slim.
Good. Noticing your hands.
Long fingers. Nails rounded, not long but not cut short. Slender. Graceful.
Good. Noticing now, moving up the body, your face, hair, and eyes. What do they look like?
Pale, skin pink, but not pale, like white, very white. My hair's red. There's a part of me that's like, you just want it to be. Gingy. Somewhere between coppery and auburn. Long, past my shoulders and wavy. Eyes, long eyelashes, maybe freckles, and eyes are blue.
Are you wearing any jewelry?
No. Sometimes I do, often I do. But not right now.
How old are you?
A woman, young. I don't know my age.
Good. Now, what is your name?
Someone calls me Ruby.
Ruby. Good. Is that someone there with you now?
There are a lot of people here, yes.
Looking around, where are you?
It's a party. It's a salon, a room full of these comfortable places, beds and chairs. It's like a sensual experience, a party. Everyone is reveling, but it's pretty calm. And I don't know if Ruby is my real name, but that's what they're calling me.
Can we call you Ruby?
Yes, yeah, it's fine.
Ruby, are you around anybody? Are you talking with anyone at the moment?
Should I just tell you? Like, should I just describe what's happening?
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's funny because when you talked about the light, I was so excited to get here. I like ran, and it was taking this like running jump through the portal. And be like, oh, that's where I want to go. And it sort of like rushed up and took shape. And I'm like, there's part of me that's just so aware of the recording, but I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. It's like it feels a long time ago, just based on, I don't know, it feels a long time ago. And it's this like, I don't know, the word that occurs to me is bacchanalian, but it feels sacred and playful at the same time. Like people are it's kind of a sex party, but it's also, it feels not, it's like there's intention. Everybody's there with intention. And so I was very excited to get there and just like be in it. I was like, yes, pleasure, celebration, and flow of sacred energy. There are people of all genders, and there are others dressed like me. Most people are dressed in like pretty scantily, so I feel like our regular clothes are somewhere else. And we're connecting.
What does that feel like?
It feels great. I feel so seen, and I feel celebrated, and I feel powerful, really powerful. Like people who are choosing to connect with me are coming for what I can offer, but it doesn't feel one-sided. It feels like, yeah, I feel like a vessel, or a channel, that's maybe a better word. Very powerful, and like power and pleasure and play. The conversation is deep. We're talking about God, goddess, maybe Isis popped into my head, but it doesn't. This is where my brain is interfering, because like, it doesn't look right. But this sense of like powerful, divine, and yeah, it's like we're having intermittent conversations about what today the word would be religion, but it doesn't make sense. Like religion isn't the right word. I don't have a word. It's just real. It's like we're living this connection, this flow, this we're playing in the flow of divine blessing in our bodies and through our bodies. It's like an offering.
Ah,
That's a good word, actually, an offering. Like each person who comes is opening through this connection. They come with questions or seeking guidance, and the tool for, it's like the oracular tool for that guidance is this exchange of physical connection. Like in our, I mean, it's not just intercourse, it's just touch and sensual play. Like we're plugging into each other, plugging into the divine through each other. And it's fun and light, even as it's.
is there a name for that this society calls this party or this type of connection?
Yeah, party, it feels like a ridiculous word for this. It's not, it just in today's language, party is the word, but it's a gathering, it's an offering. It's not exactly a ritual because it happens maybe.
Is there a reason you're all gathered there at this moment?
I realized that's a good question. What is the moment? Like maybe it's a special time on the calendar or something, but my sense is that we can do this anytime. Like this is a place people come to have this experience.
Can you look around the room and describe what it looks like?
It's big, and mostly like there are not a lot of levels. It's big, and there are a lot of these chair, bed, couch things. It's pretty. The color tone is very soft, neutral, a little bit earthy. It feels like I can't see the edges. It's really big. When I first landed here, it felt full of like groups of people like touching each other and connecting and enjoying, and like, but when I zoom out now and look, I can see what it looks like empty, I guess. There's water. It's like I didn't see it when everything looked so full, but there are like pools or baths, big enough for a number of people to be in them. I was trying to figure out what the floor was. Everything is warm. It's warm. The room is comfortably warm. It's inside. I'm inside, but there is outside, like over there somewhere. Something is open. And
what do the people look like who are there?
Also pale. Like I feel like everybody is very white. And mostly around my age, maybe a little older. But I don't see a lot of diversity in this room. when it's empty, it's like I can see it, like I can switch views between this experience and when it's empty. And when it's empty, there are elders around, like maybe they're tending resetting. I'm bothered by my today self is bothered by the realization that there are servants. And I'm like, I don't want there to be. My modern sensibilities are offended.
Well, that's okay for now. Being Ruby and completely Ruby in this time and place, and looking around through Ruby's eyes right now. Are you in a specific country, or does this civilization have a name?
Of course. I'm doubting what is in my head, because I like read fiction and I'm just like, no, this can't be. It's not quite right though. It's like so I want to say Rome, but it's not, maybe because it's not a Rome I know. Like, what do I know? There's maybe, okay, I say some people call it Rome, or would call this Rome. So maybe it's not in the mainstream. I don't know what word to use for that.
Now, Ruby, do you have, outside of this gathering, a profession?
This is my profession.
Oh, good.
And also, Ruby wants to say about the servants, she's like, they're not servants. That's just like I do this and they do that, and we're all part of this community. They're serving, but they're not servants.
Is it a happy community? Are people generally, what is their general feeling in this community?
Yeah, it feels purposeful and meaningful, and it's not, the word isn't exactly balance, but everyone has a choice. We are called to our forms of service, and we're not stuck. So overall, it feels collaborative. It's not quite the right word. Woven. Like in the times when these gatherings are not happening, like we gather in other spaces together and sort of unwind and tell stories and sometimes pray. Well, really often, actually, more than sometimes pray. And we're good company for each other. It feels like kinship. It feels like, I want to say family, but in a broader sense.
Now, Ruby, What are you learning in this scene at this time, in this moment right now?
What I was excited by is pleasure in the collective,
Mm.
and that I get to do what I love, and it feels good and serves me and others.
What is it that you love?
Connecting with people, being in my body, connecting to the embodying goddess, feeling her, offering myself, receiving people, this flow, this channel. I love being in this flow. And it feels like, yeah, and I get to do it in this really pleasurable way.
Good.
This
Now,
feels easy
yeah,
for me.
good. Now, in this room, in this gathering right now, are there any leaders or rules or anything like that?
I feel like there are people looking out for us. Yeah, I just noticed some austere looking, strong looking, like bouncer types, like big men, kind of being unobtrusively protective.
Mm.
And I have a sense of a woman also sort of keeping, an older woman, keeping an eye on things in this also unobtrusively protective way. They're off to the side. People know they're there. They're not guiding or intervening, and we can feel them there,
Mm.
see them.
Is there any music in this room?
I think there's live music, like stringed plucking. Somebody is plucking a pretty stringed instrument, and it feels like background noise. Not noise is not the right word. It's pretty and relaxing and also unobtrusive. Like you can enjoy it and tune into it, or not. It's not a distraction.
Mm. Good.
It's kind of tinkly.
Mm.
It made me think of water, like a fountain.
Now, Ruby, take in any last impressions from this room. Anything that you need to become aware of, or anything that Ruby wants to show you. Just be there as her and just observe any last thing that might catch your eye or draw your attention.
I have a room off to the side where I can go. That's my own little sanctuary.
Hmm.
And if I choose, I can bring people there with me, or it's also just mine. And it's really got more color, like darker, more jewelry tones. It feels warm, um, and it's not like it feels really important. This, like, oh yeah, I have a space here, a place here that's mine, where I can retreat, recharge, invite, rest. I haven't, there's an altar. I made an altar there. There's incense. And it's my own like, little sacred sanctuary. And
Good.
it feels significant, like, yeah, I have this. this is part of what makes all of this feel so good and work so well.
How did you get that sanctuary?
Well, I want to say that I earned it. I'm not sure. What does that mean? Well, actually, I asked for it. Yeah, I asked for it. I said I need this space. I think we all have, it doesn't, no, I think I have some kind of seniority, but everyone, my sense is it's not more than is available to others. Is that true? I don't know. I like to think that that is so. And yeah, it's interesting. I was like, no, I asked. I said I need this, and my sense is like this community made it happen, and friends, other members of the community helped. It was this room had a different purpose before, and we turned it we made it up for this purpose. That we set it up for this purpose, cleaned it out and set it up. And those who helped me were happy to do so. It was celebratory and fun, and fun time there together. So other women.
Do you live in this space, or is it just when you're there?
No, I don't think so. I sleep with others we have a sort of like a dormitory. So no, this is a different, it's not my sleeping space, but it is my space.
Good.
It's like my office, except my work is like prayer and rest and embodiment.
Do you help others to do what you do, or is everyone like you?
I listen and talk to people who want to talk about it. There are many like me and many not like me, and some who want to know more. And so I'm very happy to share my experiences and share what I know. I don't think it's an official role. Like, maybe other people see me in that way as a mentor of some kind, but I don't hold it that way. It doesn't feel like a job. Like I'm not teaching. I'm just doing what I do and open to sharing what I know.
Good. Now, Ruby, are you ready to leave this scene, or is there anything else significant that you need to know?
I think my sense, I love these gatherings because they're where I feel most connected to others, and sometimes in between I feel lonely.
Hmm.
So I just love this opportunity to be in presence with others where we're all so present with each other. And I have a little bit of sadness about when that end, like when the gathering ends and we go back to wherever I want to see the temple. It's a temple. So when the gathering is over, some people go home, they leave the temple, and I stay here. And I do connect with the others who are part of the temple, but I still feel separate.
Hmm.
So this these opportunities feel really wonderful and precious, and they're not so uncommon. Just I guess I feel the contrast, the time in between.
Hmm. Good. Now, just taking in these last moments in this scene, in this lovely, beautiful scene you were just experiencing. Slowly let it dissolve before you and allow yourself, allow Ruby to move forward now to the next significant scene, a very significant event in Ruby's life. And when I count from 1 to 3, 1, 2, 3, be there now, letting Ruby land in this scene. And as you take a moment just to be here now, letting this scene to come in all around you, now having Ruby look down at her feet and have an awareness, are they barefoot or is she wearing shoes?
Shoes.
What do
I'm
they
finally wearing shoes.
what do they look like?
Fabric,
Mm.
pretty, uh, very colorful, like I think blue, bright blue with gold trim, gold ed, like edges around the ankle and designs in the fabric.
Good. Now moving up your body, what are you wearing?
Ooh, uh, fancy garb, like flowy, um, pants. Yeah, like wide leg, flowy, straight, like falling like a skirt, but it's pants. And uh, wrapped in, I have to skip the top for a minute because it's like layers coming down from my head. So I have some kind of scarf, veil scarf thing, thin scarf, also blue. Everything is blue, the same sort of shades of this turquoisey blue. And it's on my head, and I'm outside. I'm standing on a balcony, and it's windy, and all of these fabrics are being blown. I think it's maybe not. Maybe I can't really get it. No, there's a bodice underneath,
Mm.
um, tight fitting, and just like all of these flowy fabrics over in layers. And I'm wearing jewelry, heavy stones.
What stones are you wearing?
Heavy, cool, smooth on my neck. Um, gold. Um,
So you're standing on a balcony.
yeah,
What are you looking over?
I'm looking out at this. So the balcony is very high up on this. Feels like a building on the side of a cliff, and down below is busy. A lot of people. When I first saw it, first became aware of this moment, I felt like it was soldiers, watching them
Come to where?
to the foot of this building, to the door that's underneath me.
Are you threatened?
Not imminently, it feels like the beginning, like not today, but this is not a good sign. So I'm watching, and I can feel they're not in battle formations or anything. It's not chaos either. It's like people are moving about doing their thing, and there are a lot of soldiers among them, a lot. And there's a part with me that at first I was like, oh, but they come to the temple too.
Mm.
And this feels different. They're not really sure what to make of us. They're not from, I want to say they're not from here. Um, but here, like this place where I'm standing is an outpost of some kind. Farther out, and the soldiers are from the people who rule or who want to. It's not clear. Like they're not my people, but they somehow are at the same time.
Mm. How are you feeling right now?
Um, Tired and I don't want to say observant, like vigilant. I'm watching. We know what's coming and it's not here yet. And I'm trying to take hope, take um, solace. I don't know what the word is, but it's just like, okay, not yet. I'm just watching. Today is fine. There's some relief. I'm trying to feel into whether I'm alone. At first, I had a sense that I was alone on this balcony, but I think there are others behind me from inside, like for people I know, and they're waiting for me to come back in.
How old are you in this moment?
They're maybe, actually, I feel like I'm about 40. It's not so old, but like a lot older than I was before.
And do you still stay at the temple? Is that where you are now?
It's a different place, but it's a temple, but not the same one. Like I've moved. I think I have a different role. I'm for sure in a leadership role here. And we are holding this place for the goddess. Yeah, okay, I'll just say it. We're holding this place for the goddess. This is the place we came here at her urging, her behest, and I am a high priestess, maybe. I'm a leader in among priestesses, and the ones standing behind me they feel like they are learning and serving, and they are trying to be supportive, but I feel like they don't understand.
So,
and yeah, this place is much more remote than where I was before. There's water past the plaza. I don't know the word. Below me, there's water. Like this cliff is on an edge, and there's a place for people to stand, maybe a market or something. Like it's a natural coming and going place, and there's a railing, and beyond that, water is like ocean.
So why is this happening with the soldiers?
This temple is contested. Like we know they're not acting on it yet, but we've heard that they want, it's not even that they want the temple. They don't want us to do this. It's like it's not the soldiers' fault. Like they're assembling, waiting for orders, and we know that they're ultimately going to clear us out. And in a way, I wish they wanted the temple because it's beautiful, sacred, but I'm pretty sure they're going to destroy it. And there are some who want to stay, even if it means being destroyed, even if it means dying, and I don't want to do that. I know I won't stay. At least that's my plan. My plan is not to die with this place. And I'm sad because I know it's coming soon. But I don't know. Everyone has a choice whether they stay or go. I'll support, I'll care for, I'll continue to lead whoever chooses to go with me. And I don't think we know. It's not clear where we're going. Part of the relief is that we have time. We don't have to figure it. It's not figured out today. We just know it's like our days are numbered, and it's not clear what's next.
What does the goddess say?
Mostly she says, get ready. And she says, I'm with you wherever you are. I think we're going, my sense is we're not taking her. It feels like we're taking her, but we're not taking her. She's everywhere, but it's like we're taking the feeling, the pieces of her that we feel in the temple. So maybe we're taking parts of the temple with us. And yeah, what feels loud is we're going to the wilderness. We won't be in this kind of civilization. It's going to be very different. It's been comfortable. This place is less comfortable than the last place, but it's still been very comfortable, and I don't really want to go. I don't want to leave these comforts. And she says she will provide for us, even though it'll be different. We'll be okay. That's the sense that we have. Is it's a big change, and it's a big change, and we'll learn to bring her and find her and see her in new ways.
Does Ruby have any children, or is she married?
She's not married. No, she doesn't have children. She is a guide. So many younger ones, not all women either, all genders are here serving the goddess. And there are not a lot of children here actually in this temple. Mostly like as young as the age of choice when they come, basically. There, and then some priestesses, some have children here, like birth and raise, but it's not that kind of place. It's mostly even young adults, youths to adults. And so there are many who look to me, to Ruby, for guidance, for it's not the same as being a parent. Now I am a teacher, now I am a guide, now I am a leader. Many look up to me, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not more than I can bear or manage. It feels like a lot of responsibility. That's why I'm tired. So many. And knowing what's coming and that it'll be harder. And that there are some who would choose, there's grief growing about those who will choose to stay behind. And it's their choice, but I'll miss them. And I'm sad for the waste of their lives. And I know they believe some believe that they're just returning to the goddess, and that's fine. It's not my choice. I choose to live.
Now, Ruby, being in this scene, in this temple now, is there anything else, any other impression, any other thing that you need to become aware of?
See, when I look back at the ones who are behind me, there's someone in purple who is young. I feel like she is watching, like, trying to get a sense of how I feel about her. She's watching and learning from me. Maybe she's like, it doesn't feel like she's my second. It feels like she's preparing training for when I'm to take over for me when I'm gone, but it's not it doesn't feel like a partnership. Like I wouldn't have chosen her, but she was chosen. And I wrestle with that. I'm frustrated by that dynamic. I wish there was someone I felt I could share this with. And I know she wants to. I'm aware of that.
We're now gonna go forward to the last day of Ruby's life, to the day of Ruby's death. And when I count from 1 to 3, I'd like you to be there now. 1, 2, 3. Be there now. Good. Now, Ruby, where are you right now?
The hole. I'm alone and it's cold, damp, and dark.
What events led to your death?
Our way ended. I am captive. We've been it's not could be worse. That's what I say. It could be worse. I've seen my priestesses, my kin, they some killed violently, taken some taken into to be slaves, desecrated. They kept me separate. They like to. I'm alone, and then they come and take me out of here and make me stand and watch. Powerless. All of our secret, all of our beautiful shrines and patience, our altars have been destroyed, broken, burned. And they're just things, I know, but I feel sad because we have managed to keep them beautiful for so long. I feel old. I feel like I've seen too much. But they feed me and keep me here, uncomfortable and alive.
And what is the purpose for this? What do they want?
They want to humiliate me. They want to show how, when they bring me out, there are people who, it's like those who used to come to the temple, they see me and they see that I have no power, that I am bereft, and they see that this is not a thing to want to be. I think they use me just to break the vision of the priestesshood, to break, so that those who see me will know that to follow the goddess is fruitless now. And it's been a long time. Many have died, and violently, so it's like the point has been made, but I feel like I have been here this long only to be a witness. And I carry that. I carry this role, this memory, the memory of who we were and who we've been and who we became. What became of us? I carry it.
Good. Good, Ruby. Now, going to the moment of your death. Now you can choose to experience this, or you can pull up and watch from above, from afar. Either way, the moments before you die, who is there with you? Where are you?
In this, like a dark room, it feels like a hole, and I'm waiting for them to come take me. Right now, I'm alone. I mean, I should say, there are no people here with me, but I feel I feel her presence. I know she's with me. I know I'm going to her. I know I'm not alone.
And how has your relationship with the goddess been this whole time through your turmoil?
Mostly I mean, always close. Sometimes I'm angry. I don't understand. Sometimes I'm sad, but she's been with me. It's been a while now where it's felt like a partnership. I am hers and she is mine.
What does it feel like now?
Yes, it feels like that. It feels like she's here, reminding me that I'm a, I'm afraid and not afraid. I'm afraid because I don't know what this is going to be like. I know, I know what's coming, but she says, she reminds me that it's just a body. I'm leaving my body and returning more fully to her. She's ready to catch me, like I'm being born back into her arms.
Good.
It's hard. I just want him to come already.
Well, fast forwarding now to the moment of your death. Do you have any last thought right before you die? Good. Make that transition now. You've been this way many times before on your journey home. Free of the body, and your spirit moves to a place where you're from. Now you'll find yourself moving through the tunnel, going straight into the spirit world, floating up naturally, easily, and effortlessly, like you've done so many times before. The circle of light surrounds you, growing wider until you are completely out of the tunnel, where you will be taken to a place of rest and rejuvenation. Going straight into the spirit world, floating up naturally, easily, and effortlessly, like you've done so many times before, where you'll find your spirit guide waiting for you. Now just relax completely and let your impressions come through easily as you continue to report back exactly what's happening to you. Now, when your guide appears, let me know. And have your guide help you with the understanding. What was the reason or purpose of that life as Ruby?
I just got to be me, and in full, uh, in my power through connection and pleasure, in full in relationship, full relationship. It's like mm, there's a word for the relation. This relationship that I had with Goddess, with Divine, was like I was honoring her and honoring her by being myself. And that was the gift that she was bringing to all of us, was just be you and do as you do, and all will be provided. Stay in alignment, stay in a place of choice. It was so, it was much easier. It was easy. It was a life of, when in that relationship, even when things were hard, the relationship felt easy, and my my purpose felt simple. And even in my teaching and modeling, I didn't have to prepare anything. I just showed up, and shared. And the loss, I wonder, it showed me that that our bodies are like, the relationship with each other and with the divine transcends transcended our forms in each lifetime. In that lifetime in particular, there was so much pleasure in the body, and then the loss of it was hard. But I knew, especially when it was, by the time it was time for me to go, that I was ready. Like, I'm done. I don't need to be in this body. I'm ready to just feel you with no impediment.
Hmm.
And I think I had known that that was possible. Like, before then, in the earlier days, I was feeling her through my body. Like, my body was the gift, was the conduit, was the transmitter for that relationship with other people, so that we could all experience this pleasurable connection. And actually, that lasted, even, it wasn't only when I was young. I knew how to commune, how to participate in these in sacred sexuality, these sacred acts. There wasn't really an age limit. The only thing that stopped it was when we were stopped by outside forces who didn't understand, and then they sought to they tried, I think, to cut off, to sever that flow between our bodies and the divine, but it didn't work because once our bodies were dead, then we were just with her.
Mm.
And
So, what was your purpose of learning that whole process of sacred sexuality with the divine and being a conduit?
can you tell me more about your question? When you say what was your purpose, what do you mean?
Why did you spend this life in learning this technique, this connection?
Uh, um, it's well, I don't know. Now I'm curious to know how many lives were like this, but I want to say contrast, like to understand that that ease, that pleasure and ease, the ability to connect with other people, other beings, and the divine through pleasure and ease is available always.
Mm.
It's a gift and it's available always. And there, I have a sense that there were other lifetimes that were hard. I mean, I'm not going to go there right now. I imagine they had other lessons, but it feels like this is an important one, that it doesn't need to be hard. In fact, there's a lot of power to be had, power in a way of being fully empowered to be wholly oneself by just staying in this place of pleasure. Yes, sacred sexuality, and also like the clothes and the colors and the textures and food and company, good company and kinship, chosen family, all of these things. Like I'm aware that these are all things Annie wants. so, so I'm sure I was taken to this lifetime today for this reason,
Mm.
to know that it's possible.
Now, is there anything that you need to release from that lifetime that might be holding you back?
One thing is the loneliness, that even though she was in community, she always felt separate, like and like an not an outsider, just that she didn't feel fully integrated with everyone else. And yeah, and even the way she died, she was alone. And I think I would like to release that as I invite experiences of real integrated kinship and company. Don't want
Good.
to carry that loneliness.
Good. Now ask your guide to touch you like an energy download in the place where you want that healing and that understanding and that release, and allow that to happen. Ask your guide to show you complete integration. Ask your guide to show you how no one is separate, how we are all one. Ask your guide to show you the infinite possibilities of your consciousness. Ask your guide to show you that you are the goddess, all encompassing of everything and everyone.
Yes, that. that I am the goddess, the images. I say this in my work often: my hands, her hands, my work, her work, my voice, her voice, my words, her words, and it's that like I believe that we are the embodiment of the divine on earth. And when you said that, I was like, yes, exactly. And then everyone, there's this, from that lifetime, it felt like the times of most connection were in those gatherings, and most of the communings was with strangers. And then I would go back to the community and feel separate. And that's what I'm asking to change. Like, I want to feel like it's all, I feel integrated in all of the places, in all of the parts. I feel her in me and see her in everyone else. And they, everyone else, we see each other. We see her in each other, greet, welcome, support, hold up each other, have each other's backs. That's the place on me that I asked my guide to touch, is like between my shoulder blades, maybe my lower back, these places of feeling supported, like I can lean.
Good. So beautiful. So beautiful. Now, ask your guide to show you a symbol or an image that you will understand, that you can take with you relating to your experience today. And whenever you've received that, just let me know.
That thing, just the color, that turquoise from the
Mm,
dress, turquoise and gold.
perfect. Perfect. Now, looking into the eyes of those you've seen and loved, those who were special to you in the life just lived as Ruby, share with them any messages that are in your heart. Listen quietly to the messages they have for you. Make the connections to your life today. Look into their eyes and see if any of them are familiar to those that you know today. And as you are making these last connections, release them. Tell them that you love them. Let them know any messages you have for them. Bless them and send them love. Release them and let them go. And just let me know whenever that is finished. Good. Now you may discover that what you have experienced in your past life benefits you in your present life. You've learned a great deal and you're able to apply what you have learned to improve your present lifetime. Skills, talents, and abilities that are all incorporated into your current life. You feel more confident, connected, happy, and self-assured. You feel whole and balanced. You feel all of the good, positive things that Ruby has brought to your life. They have fully integrated now into your life as Annie. You feel blessed and so confident in these abilities. And if ever you need to, you can always go back to Ruby and commune or connect or send Ruby love or send her messages. You can guide her or receive guidance from her. You always have that connection. Now, as you slowly begin to come back, traveling through time, you bring back with you all that is important to remember, bringing with you the insights and understanding, talents and abilities that serve you. Now coming back surrounded by the ball of light, coming through the avenue of the heart. And in a moment, when I count from 1 to 5, you'll awaken feeling wonderful, better than you have in a long time, at peace with yourself. 1, coming back now grounded and reconnecting. 2, back into the room. 3, feeling your body. 4, 5, feeling fully in your body, wide awake. And taking your time and just relaxing and breathing. Whew. How do you feel?
Bit breathless.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, it's so interesting how I reminds me of Abraham Hicks says imagination is receiving mode.
Mm.
And so I was like, I mean, obviously I'm making it up, like
Totally.
there was
Yeah.
the editor was there being like,
Mm-hmm.
what? That can't
Mm-hmm.
be right. That's fiction.
Well, aren't we all just making it up all the time?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I guess so.
Wow, well that was spectacular. That was quite the experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I saw when I knew we were preparing for her death, I
Mm.
saw how she, like, it took me a minute. I'm like, how is this going to work? I'm in this hole. Where am I going? I was like, oh, okay, I know where I'm going. And then I was surprised that you didn't, like, I didn't have to go through that. Like, I think it would have been okay, actually. It was sort of,
Yeah.
she was,
How did she die?
they threw her off the cliff
Oh, geez.
and
Whew.
threw her. So I guess, like, but I guess drowned. I don't know. I just, like, I saw it from above, like pushed, thrown over, like off the edge, and she fell a long way. But she was wearing, I mean, by then, like whatever it was like kind of grimy and whatever, but flowy things just kind of spread out around her when she went into the water. And then I was in the water, and the discomfort was interesting. Like as soon as we started, I felt this weight on my chest, and I
Mm.
was like, oh, this is why, because she couldn't, like she drowned.
Mm.
And but it was quick. It was like the transition felt like was interesting because you were describing floating up, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm going up in the water
Mm.
from the drowning to, like, then it was like taking a breath, and I was born. This also is influenced by my rabbinic training. I'm not a rabbi, but I trained for a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And there's this prayer that I love, Vayitzror B'tzror Chaim et Nishmata, which is may their soul be bound up And I had this image of like being, when someone dies, like they're born into their afterlife and swaddled again,
Mm,
like received by
yeah.
mine. And
You
so
did
that,
say something like that. I loved that.
yeah, that's what it felt like. Like, I don't remember saying anything about it, but it was like
Hmm.
I took a breath, like she died, and then the next breath was out of that life, it was like in the next
Mm.
place.
Wow. Yeah, I had a feeling I'm like, this is going to be an intense death.
Was it for you? What
Oh
was
my
that
gosh,
like?
it was so the whole thing, it was so tragic. It was so
Oh,
sad. Oh my goodness.
didn't feel, it did, like when she was talking about the loss, that felt very sad, and the end felt like the witness. I was like, oh yeah, okay, they kept me here so that I would. But it was kind of amazing too to think, like I, so if we're going to suspend disbelief and whatever, right, like intuitive to intuitive,
Yeah.
to think I, why didn't the other priestesses live as, like from that lifetime? They were killed young, like relatively, and I don't know how long she was kept alive, but it was like so she would have the memory, like the institutional memory of
Mm,
everything that was carried by that temple tribe, whatever it was. Like somebody had to live long enough to see it all, so
yeah.
that the all of it and the understanding of it, the grief of course, but like the book of it could be carried forward.
Ah.
And that was kind of cool to be like, oh okay, like they had their purposes, but if I'm a fatalist in many ways, so like goddess would have killed her sooner if she didn't want her, let her die sooner if she didn't
Yeah.
want her to have that role, if she
Uh-huh.
wasn't suited to that role, if she didn't know how to be in that relationship that kept her, I don't know if sane is the right word, but um, she wasn't it was interesting. Like I expected more suffering.
Yeah. It sounds like there was, but no.
It wasn't as because of things when in our last conversation I was like there was a lot more suffering in some of those other things that I had envisioned. Like it was the loneliness was very acute, especially at
Mm,
the end. Like I wanted there to be other people in there with her, but they
mhm,
weren't. And it was sort of
mm.
like memories of people. Um, but there wasn't her that was also interesting, that like there was a lot of good in her life, and that loneliness was pretty pervasive.
Do you feel that in your life today?
Yeah, I have a lot of people in my life, and I feel like, yeah, I have a lot of people in my life. It's like I have a relationship with the collective,
Mm,
because I don't have, when I need it, when like push really comes to shove, that's how I get supported, is like I reach out to a group of people and somebody, like the ask gets spread out and somebody's show up. But I
uh-huh.
don't have, and that occurred to me when I was thinking about her. She didn't have a partner. She didn't have like one person to lean
Mm.
on. And in the last moments, the one of the people that she looked in the eyes of was the younger woman who was her apprentice. I think
Oh
that's the word.
yeah. I'm so sorry that my computer just was like about to die at that part. I'm like, oh crap. We didn't really get to talk about it as much as I wanted. So what, she had an apprentice, but there was a conflicting relationship with this.
Yes, because she didn't choose the apprentice and she wouldn't have chosen that one.
Mm.
So it was like, and the she died. The apprentice died. She didn't live very long. So, or I don't know how to say. Like she died when she was still young. Ruby outlived her,
Mm.
and she was the first person who's. I was like, I don't have, because the prompt was something about like the people you loved or were close to, and it was like she was like who, and she's like, oh okay, if I'm giving a message. So she looked into the eyes of the apprentice and said, you were enough.
Mm.
And it was the same thing that she needed that she said when she died. It was like, right, I got
Listen.
that. I give it to you. It's
Yeah.
not your fault. I'm sorry, that
Yeah.
it wasn't, that we weren't the perfect match, but it was good enough and you were good enough, whatever. Uh, that felt very uh, poignant.
Uh,
Um, yeah, and like it was like the other and then the um, the message that I got was went back to the experience of setting up that sanctuary room sort of to the side of the big party space salon.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the folks who would gather with me in there, it was like we would like have little, I don't know, like girly, but it wasn't only women. There was masculine energy there too. But like we would hang out in there, and they like helped me make it my own, and they were saying, just ask. Like we would have done more. You didn't lean. You
Mm.
didn't ask.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
you kept yourself separate, and you didn't have to. We were excited to be with you, excited to share these experiences with you. Um, Let us. You can let us. It was really
Wow.
a lot of this, like, just lean back, let 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 these people, like, let us show up with you.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Huh. So do you feel that in your life today then, right?
Yeah, and then I think like, okay, so I have a sense of who those. I mean, I run a program, like I run a community of women. It's
Yeah.
called Living from the Heart, and I feel like those people. I mean, I'm leaving tomorrow for Nova Scotia,
Oh,
and
cool.
I'm going to spend. I mean, by the time I'm going with my pandemic partner and I are renting a car and driving, so we'll be in transit for 2 days. But then I'm going to spend basically a week with one of those women on
Uh-huh.
her land, and um, I pulled cards about the trip, and one of the things that became, because I keep thinking about all the things I want to do, like, oh, I'm going to help clear because the property they bought and it needs work. And I was like, I'm going to do work outside, get exercise, cut down trees, saplings, whatever, but go
Yeah.
hiking, do witchcraft on the property, and play the transformation game. Do like, there are just all these things I've been thinking about wanting to do while I'm there. And the cards were like, this is for rest. And
Ah.
so the picture is this woman curled up in a nest, like fully
Uh,
clothed and just like lying on her side in the fetal position in a
mm.
nest. And it's like, it's supposed to feel like this, yo, like chill out on the doing and remember the restorative part. And
Mm-hmm.
the three were that conscious connections, which is about, I know it's about my relationship with I think it's about my relationship with my partner, but also can be about the relationship with my friend, and hold space for what needs to be. And so it just made me think, like, right, could I just like let like ask for what I need and let her, which is what she's trying to do. Like she's setting up for rest and restoration. So I'm like, I could do
Wow.
that.
Yeah. You could do that. You've got a couple of signs now.
Yes, I guess so. Because there's a part of me that feels like I have to earn it still, right? Like,
Oh, for sure. I
so
feel
it seems,
that.
like, oh, I have to earn my keep when I stay there, but maybe not. I don't know. I'll
Yeah,
have to ask
maybe
her.
not.
I think I'll ask her what she needs, so that there's just like a container that I know I can work in.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing about like basically being a possibility model, I mean, that's Kelly Deal's language, that Ruby was just like, she just did the things and people learned from how she did it. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do in my
Mm,
work.
yeah.
It made total sense to me.
That is so like just the living by example. Like you just live and people come around you and kind of like, what are you doing? How is your life so amazing? Or like, how are you doing all these things type deal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, like when you say it like that, like, how did you do that? I think like I got this apartment that I'm in. I didn't get this. Yes, well, actually, I did twice because my ex and I moved in here 5 years ago, when I was 8.5 months pregnant. And then when we split up, I realized I wanted it. Like, he
Mm-hmm.
go, I get to stay. And I had to leave actually because of the pandemic. And then we worked it out. Like, we figured it out. He got a place down the hall. I got to move back in here, and I managed to get my income up so that I could support it. And my mom said to me, "How'd you make that work?" In this tone was like judgy, but I realized
Uh-huh.
after that she was like, "It seems perfect.
Yeah.
How did you do it?"
Yeah.
And she was really incredulous that I got what I wanted.
Mm.
And I'm like, "Yeah, more of that, I think." Like, sharing, just, yeah, I knew this was my ideal, was for us to live in the same building,
Mm-hmm.
co-parent under like one big roof. And we, told people that. And then when our neighbors moved, they said, "By the way, we're moving, you should apply for our place." And
Perfect. That's
yeah,
exactly how it works, right?
yeah, and it wasn't instantaneous. It was like from December to May.
Yeah.
It worked. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, just like fully embodying your potential and just having people be curious about it. How is
Yes.
that? How is that magic? What'd you do with that magic there? Oh.
Yes. Yes. And the sex party thing is hilarious because
Oh,
I
that was
really want.
great.
I mean, that's like, I do these things in real life, but not in the pandemic, obviously,
Uh-huh.
and not ever in like the scope. I love my like sweet spot in my life is where the sacred and the creative meet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I'm an artist and I do mostly goddess art,
Mm-hmm.
sculptures, paintings, but also sacred sexuality is like, I think I felt it. I felt it. I've written about it for a long time, but I haven't engaged consciously very much. Like, I haven't really had partners who could.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't surprised. It was like, as soon as you were like, "And you're coming to the light," and it was like,
You were
"Yes,
running
I'm
there.
going to this. This is going
You're
to be
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going. I'm already there.
I was like kind of self-conscious. I'm like, "Okay, I guess we're having a sex party, and I have no
We're in
sort
the
of
sex
social."
party now.
Like, I just don't want to say that. It just felt crass to use like the language of today of like, "Oh, an orgy," and it wasn't. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like that. It really felt. It wasn't subdued either. There's just like an energy tone that's in between. It wasn't. It wasn't off the wall, ecstatic, like, out of. There's a word in Hebrew, mitzacheking, which is like, it's not ing in English, but mitzachek, which is like it's like joy that goes too far, or like play that
Ah.
goes too far, or lust that
Mm.
goes too far. Bloodlust is another.
Mm.
And it wasn't that. Like, it was actually, nor was it controlled. It was just in alignment. Like, everyone who was there for this clear purpose with healthy intention.
Mm.
It was sort of like, I think about it now, like the feeling tone, like this sort of hum of connection across this room. It's really cool, and the room was huge.
It sounded very like in my head I was picturing when you said Rome, that was cool because I was picturing like columns and I was picturing like a marble like banquet hall and everything was like very elegant and like earthy and
Yes,
cushiony and stuff like that. So
yeah, and I think I was sort of picturing that, but I'm so influenced by like, it wasn't the patriarchal heteronormative Rome that we see in movies.
yeah,
That's
that's not how
mostly.
I thought of it. Just the room, kind of the
Yeah,
structure,
so
the
it was hard
architecture.
for me to like let those things, because I was like, are there columns? I don't know. I don't want to get attached to whether or not there are columns. Like, I
Yeah.
was,
Okay.
is it marble? What's the floor? I was like, I don't
Uh-huh.
know. It's soft, it's not soft, it's warm, for sure warm. But then I was like, I don't want to get caught in those details because they were like, it felt like it was taking me away from the feeling tone. To
Ah,
puzzle about it was
yeah.
was taking me away. So that's when I was like, just breathe and like let it go and sink deeper into what you notice.
Yeah.
Like, okay, fine.
Well,
I'm
you
clear.
were
It's all about feelings.
gotcha. Yeah, you were well, you're describing it very well. Like that all came
I
across.
didn't feel that at all.
And no, you really, yeah, you really did. I'm, yeah, I'm feeling too. I'm very kinesthetic, so like I connected with that too. It all felt very good.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Wow, that was a long time. I just looked at my clock.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not going to apologize. You were the guy.
No, yeah, but you know, that was really great. And I think this is my favorite one that I have done so far, hands down.
Wow.
It was like truly amazing. It was like heart-wrenching. I was like crying. It was so incredible and I loved it. If you have well, okay, so I love working with people like you who are obviously like very like tuned in. So it's easier for you to just
Yeah.
be there and kind of accept what's happening and you know, you have your skeptical mind, but you can put that aside and just be in the belief, be in belief.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. So that was
It
great.
helped to give myself permission to just name it. To be like, okay, skeptical mind says this. I just need to say
Yeah.
that, get it out of the way so that I can
Right.
then be with what is.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, thanks so much. This was awesome.
Thank you.
All
Take
right.
care.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.